Let's preview All Out 2025 coming to you live from coming to you live. Not today though. I'm coming to you live. But All Out 2025 will be coming to you live on September 20, 2025 at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. I will not be there. I'm not heading all the way out there. I've made my peace with it. It's fine. I'll be nice and comfy here. I'm excited to watch it from the comfort of my own home. I traveled all the way to All In this year. It's fine. It's fine. What turned me off is that I took too long to book a flight. I love going to Toronto, going to Billy Bishop Airport because it drops you right downtown in Toronto. I love that. And the tickets from where I live are about, like, when you get them reasonably, they can be anywhere between, $375 to $450. And that's pretty reasonable. But I waited too long, and then now they're like $800, and like with a stopover in Montreal, gag. No, don't need to do that. Anyway, so this is what we have lined up on the show. We're going to preview it for the show this Saturday. I think there's a lot to like about this show. I know it's been a point of controversy, and I myself had pondered, how AEW is going to react with 3 of their top stars being gone from television, like true top stars. Talking Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and Swerve Strickland. I'm like, well, the Hangman's gonna have to step up, and step in and step up. But you know who else turns out stepped up is fucking Jon Moxley again. The fucking ace of the company. Look, I went on the rant on Monday. Don't make me do it again. But Jon Moxley has 100% once again stepped up when he was needed the most. In this position where, the 3 of the top guys are currently out for multiple reasons. So I'm okay with this. Like I'm 100% okay with all of this. I think the show is going to be very good. I think we're in for a treat. This card is very well put together. I think they have a kick-ass main event waiting for us. Got some good vibes matches on here too. And look, why don't we break it all down? Because that's what we're here to do. A proper preview. If we are starting with the tailgate brawl, the Saturday tailgate brawl show that will be on TNT, acting as and this is important to note, folks, right? Just to make sure everyone is clear on this. The tailgate brawl is not the same as the 0 hour. There will still be a 0 hour, but the 0 hour, from what I understand, is all going to be pre-taped stuff. And it's all going to be talking heads junk. It's all going to be just people, doing the talking heads gimmick. You know the setup, right? Where it's like, who you think is going to win? And then Jeff Jarrett's got, I got to put my money. It's all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for the pre-show with the action, that would be the tailgate brawl on TNT. Now we're trying to figure it out. We tried to figure it out here in the chat, live on stream, where to watch it in Canada. I've been told that AEW Plus on Triller and TSN in Canada are the places to do it. TSN, I don't know if it's on the app or not. I have no idea. And AEW Plus on Triller makes a lot of sense. That's essentially how they're going with this. So if you want the matches are happening on TNT, the pre-show matches. And you can still watch the 0 hour and all your usual haunts, but it's all just going to be, predictions and talking heads and nonsense. So the tailgate brawl matches go as follow. The Ops Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs will be taking on the Workhorsemen, Anthony Henry and JD Drake. That should be pretty cool, quite frankly. Daniel Garcia will be facing Katsuyori Shibata. They're even giving it the old number treatment. They're calling it the rubber match. Garcia versus Shibata 3. Shibata is absolutely losing this one. Garcia just kicking off his push as the newest member of the Death Riders. There's no way he's messing this one up. And then an 8-woman tornado tailgate brawl, which is going to be like a false count anywhere. Not a false count anywhere. It's going to be no DQ. It's going to, you know what? It's going to be one of those. Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, and Willow Nightingale will be taking on Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, and the Triangle of Madness. Julia Hart and Sky Blue Sans Tekla, because she's busy on the main card. Yeah, so there you go. It's interesting. I think it looks like a fun little pre-show. I very curious to see what the women are going to be up to. So yeah, there you go. So it was revealed earlier today. If we move on to the main card now, it was revealed earlier today on the media call with Tony Khan that Cope and Christian Cage versus FTR would open up the proceedings for this show. This is absolutely going to be a vibes match. They're starting it off. They're going to start it off hot. The crowd is going to be excited to start seeing the stars. The Toronto crowd is going to pop a little extra louder for the hometown boys. It should all work out very, very well from that standpoint. I think Cope is going to do his damnness to work with his pals in FTR. Christian Cage absolutely rules. And FTR, quite frankly, one of the best things on AEW these days. They are systematically great. They're really, really, really having their best run, I would say, in AEW since they joined. They are phenomenal right now. This heel turn has just been extraordinary. And they have the potential to carry this match to something really, really great. And it should be a blast and a half. And I would assume Cope and Cage are going to win here, and that they're finally going to hug, with Cage's full volition. Like he's going to finally cave in and hug Cope to an even bigger reaction, because that's also part of this story. Otherwise, look, I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I'm kind of off on Cope right now. I don't think he hasn't been. I want to say once again, my gut was right. Warren, just stacking up W's here today, but I can only hope that I was right here once again. That Copeland hasn't been as bad as he has been earlier this year, because he's working with Christian Cage, who is reining him in, who's keeping him focused and like, no, we're not going to do your long-winded, goofy idea because it's not going to work in this company. This is what we're going to do. Like Copeland has been pretty good throughout this build, and I don't think it's a coincidence that he has suddenly become tolerable the minute he starts working with Christian Cage, who has been nothing but great since joining AEW, because he's figured it all out. Because Christian Cage has had to go reinvent himself elsewhere out of WWE, whereas Copeland he never left WWE. So he only knows one way to operate. Cage had to learn, had to adapt. He understands that you have to play to different audiences, different customers, so you can't give them the same thing. And he understands that. So I'm pretty sure he's keeping his buddy Cope reined in here from his very terrible instincts. Because don't get me wrong, I've been enjoying Cope in this, but Cope has terrible instincts. So yeah, Cope and Cage probably are going to win, very likely, in this match. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Hurt Syndicate in a trios match. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, alongside MVP, who's suiting up for this one against Ricochet and the GOA. Now, I put over Bobby Lashley and Toa Leona's match today big time. On the, well, not the match. The match was yesterday, but the review that I did today, I put that match over big time. I thought Bobby Lashley was extremely giving to Leona. He understood, he being Lashley, understood that he's got to make these guys look like a menace. Because if the more they look like killers, the better they're going to look, beating them like Lashley did last night and getting into the match at All Out. If all you wrestle are geeks, then it doesn't help you. It doesn't make you look tougher or stronger because you're only wrestling morons. So in this match on Dynamite last night, I thought Lashley was terrific. Selling, being unable to take Leona down and taking a couple of bumps on top of that. I'm like, all right, okay. All right. And it made me more excited for this match. It legitimately helped get me more excited for this trios match, which I thought was a done deal. Now I'm not so sure. Now I'm thinking, I think Ricochet and the GOA could win, even if it means, and this is how I think it's going to finish. I think it's going to come to a crashing halt when Ricochet uses MVP's cane against them. Because MVP broke his cane across Ricochet's back last night, and Ricochet was selling the fuck out of it, and they were showing him like writhing on the floor. I think that's intentional. I don't think that's I don't think that's like a chance encounter, just something cute. I think that's a legitimate. I think that's a legitimate thing that happened. Well, it's a legitimate. It's a legitimate thing that happened, but it's a legitimate storytelling device. And so Ricochet's going to turn around and use the cane, and get a screwy victory. But that doesn't matter. Like I don't care. I don't mind if Ricochet, a guy like Ricochet, with the character he's playing, should not play fair. I'm absolutely okay with that. I'm super duper okay with that. But I'm legitimately more excited for this match after watching Bobby Lashley versus Toa Leona. I think they did a fantastic job. Good stuff. Mercedes Moné is going to be taking on Rio for the AEW TBS Championship. Of course, Mercedes comes in as the champion. Again, on the review today, I was wondering if maybe the booker, old Tony Khan, I was thinking to myself, maybe he's lost a little faith in the power of this match, because Rio wasn't a headlining act for the September to Remember show, and she was tossed onto the third hour, with Mercedes coming down at ringside for commentary. Sure, it was only a squash match or an enhancement match, I should say, with Robin Renegade, but it didn't feel big. It didn't feel interesting. And the match that she had with Renegade was fine. So I'm just wondering if Tony Khan hasn't gone a little cold on this match. He's like, maybe he's not quite sure about what he sees with Riho now. Maybe it's not quite as exciting as she once was. If that makes sense. So I'm listening, so I'm watching all of this go down, and I'm thinking, all of it happening, and I'm like, we haven't seen Rio really wrestle. Her match, the tag team match that she had 2 weeks ago, when she was who was her tag team partner? I don't remember. Oh, it was Alex Windsor, right? Yeah, it was Alex Windsor and her versus Mercedes Moné and Emi Sakura. And when I reviewed the match, I was like, Alex Windsor just stole the show here. And it was really weird because this should have been a match to build Riho, but it was all like she was messing up stuff. Her stuff looked soft. And I'm like, she's wrestling Emi Sakura, who she has wrestled so many times before, and yes, is her teacher. Like, this should be clicking more, and it wasn't. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, I'll see what happens Sunday, but I might be out on Riho. I will never deny that she is the NXT killer, that Paul Levesque fears her. I will never take that away from her. But I might be out on her depending on this performance. I'm not into it. Now, on the other side of this, there's Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné, who is one of the greatest women's wrestlers on planet Earth right now. She's one of the greatest to ever do it. She's definitely the greatest women's wrestler in North American history. She and on top of that, she loves wrestling the Joshi. She loves wrestling the Japanese girls. So maybe she will be able to get something good out of Riho. The thing is that, if Mercedes, we say it often, like Mercedes' strength is not, part of her strengths is that she's able to have her offense look sloppy, but it works. Like it nonetheless allows her to do stuff that looks a little off, and that adds to the mystique. It adds to the impact of what you're watching, where it's like, oh, she could kill someone anytime, because her shit is not about precision, right? So I'm just wondering if she's wrestling Riho and Riho can't keep up, and Riho is flubbing things and just not into, how much can Mercedes cover for her? I don't know. Like I don't know. We'll see. Jon Moxley will be facing Darby Allin in a coffin match. Look, I'm hyped for this. I'm hyped for this match. Jon Moxley is going to be throwing Darby Allin around. It's going to be awesome. What are we talking about? It's going to be brutal. It's going to be violent. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Those are my notes. Darby's going to take a beating, and he's going to come back, and he's going to stuff Jon Moxley in a coffin, and he's going to win. That's how it's going to go. I am very stoked for this match. Very, very stoked. Mark Briscoe versus MJF in a tables and thumbtacks match. I think this will be a good ending point for the MJF Mark Briscoe feud. Clearly, MJF wanted to give Mark Briscoe more shine, more big time matches, and we got those. It was nice. I think it was good to have Briscoe work on a little higher tier with a big time star in AEW like MJF. But yeah, I think it's time we close the door on this feud, and for Max to move on to any of the multiple other balls he's been juggling in the company. Maybe even coming back for another shot at the title. We'll see how it all plays out. Tables and thumbtacks. So, you just picture it. There's gonna be blood. It's gonna be violent, and once again, MJF is gonna go out there and he's gonna have a killer performance. He's gonna show once again that he is a complete pro wrestler. And, that we're lucky to be having him do what he does. But then he's going to cut a promo at some point that people are going to find is a little too long. Oh, that's a little too edgy. And it's going to be like, MJF is bad. MJF is bad. Yeah, but he's winning this match. I hope we all realize this. MJF is winning this feud and is going to be moving on. At least I think so. You could make an argument for me for Mark Briscoe winning. You could. but I don't think it's going to happen. Big Bill's taking on the returning Eddie Kingston in a singles match. That's fun. I'm excited for Eddie Kingston to return. I think it's a good idea to have him return on a pay-per-view. I think it's a good idea to announce it. I think it's a terrific idea to announce it. Get the fan base excited. Everyone loves Eddie Kingston. Why not get excited about it? This is going to be one that people are going to be focused, laser focused, tuning in. AEW fans are going to pick this over whatever's going on with WrestlePalooza at whatever time this airs, of course. I'm stoked about it. I think this is going to be great. I'm excited to see Eddie back. I'm excited to see in what kind of shape he's in. I'm excited to see how good he's going to be. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. I have no issues with how this was promoted. I don't have any issues with how this is booked. It's a good first opponent for him to come back. Big Bill is going to have like a big heat segment. And then Eddie's fiery comeback is going to be tremendous, and he's going to get the win with the spinning back fist, and everyone's going to cheer. And that's what you want out of this. And Eddie's going to cry. Eddie's going to cry. He's going to sob in the middle of the ring, and we're all going to sob because we're all like, oh, Eddie. That's just how it's going to go. It's going to be tremendous. What more do you want from me? It's going to be good. Yeah. And hopefully this match doesn't go like 11 minutes, because that would not be a good idea. Brodito will be defending the AEW Tag Team Championship, World Tag Team Championship, in a 4-way ladder match against the Young Bucks, Jet Speed, and Hechicero and Josh Alexander. Now, if it weren't for the absolute quality of tag teams that is in this match, I wouldn't care for it at all. I am firmly in the crew of people who are sick of ladder matches. Here's the thing. You've got Tony Khan right now, who has all these plans, right? He's got, things get leaked where he wants to do this and that, and it never happens. And then people quiz him about it in interviews, and he says, well, I was wanting to do this, but then this, some people got injured and so on and so forth. Then 3 of the top people at the tippy top of his company are out with, 2 are out with injuries. Kenny Omega is not out with an injury. He's doing stuff at the Tokyo Game Show. But 2 of his top guys are out with injuries. And now we're going to do a ladder match where you risk people doing all sorts of goofy ass garbage that no one is going to remember the next day. And for the sake of these titles, and all risking to get seriously hurt. Like, what happens if Bandito does something really stupid off of a ladder, gets a huge pop, but I don't know, twists his ankle, fucking shatters his ankle, or, crushes his elbow, whatever the fuck. And then Brodito is no more. I wouldn't be doing this. I don't know why. I don't know why you wouldn't be doing it. I don't understand it. Who cares? Who cares about the ladders? I don't care about the ladders. With 8 people involved in it on top of that, it's too much. And I already feel aggravated about it. And there's probably going to be some insane spots and whatnot, but look, the Bucks are here. Then, the Bucks are geniuses. I'm coming in with a lot of apprehension. Now, if you ask me, Brodito retained the titles, but I wouldn't be. But you see, they've started the story of the Young Bucks getting on the redemption run. I think there's absolutely a case to have them walk out of this with the titles, 100%. I wouldn't be surprised in the least, actually. So I'm more or less excited about that, but I'm also aware that this is a me problem, and that probably some of you are very, very into it. Kazuchika Okada will be defending the AEW Unified Championship against both Kensuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada in a 3-way match. Boy, was I excited to see Mascara Dorada on Dynamite this week. I think it's safe to assume, folks, and again, this is not insider information. Don't go post this on Reddit. But I think it's safe to assume that Mascara Dorada is indeed the recipient of one of these dual contracts between AEW and CMLL. Because they're just bringing him in here for a random shot here. You know, they're just bringing him in here for the tournament, a random shot, and putting him on the pay-per-view to take the pin for Konosuke Takeshita. Oh. Look, you know, the broke mindset would say, oh, Takeshita's winning, but they don't want to pin Okada. But the woke mindset will say, or the galaxy brain, no, not the galaxy brain, the woke mindset, or whatever. I don't remember what the meme is anymore. But those of us with high IQ realize that it's not to protect Konosuke Takeshita. It's not to protect Kazuchika Okada, but rather to protect Konosuke Takeshita, who, as I said, is going to go on a run. This guy is on the cusp of a really big fucking run. And there's a babyface turn that is working right now, that they're slowly dialing. Like, it's been a nice little simmer. Now we're turning the heat up. You know, we're about to hit a roiling boil here. Rolling, not a roiling, a rolling a boil. This close. So, I don't think this is a question of protecting Okada. Okada is going to pin Dorada because we are saving Takeshita for big things. We are saving Takeshita for bigger things and get hype. And it's crazy. Here's the thing. Like, we'll see how it all shakes out. But if it shakes out as I'm thinking, as expected, I guess, it's crazy. Because at the start of this year, I was saying, there's no fucking way Konosuke Takeshita is sticking around AEW. He's going to go to New Japan. He's going to become their ace. He's going to go full time. He's a built-in star. People already love him. He understands the mandate. Like, he had a terrific G1. Not only did he win it, but it was an awesome performance from him in an otherwise extremely disappointing G1. But he was good throughout, even great. So he is a guy who understands when it's time to deliver in the big spots. He's going to deliver in the big spots. I was like, he's just going to go to Japan. He's going to hang out in New Japan. He's going to become a superstar there, and never mind in America, where they're mid-carding him and whatnot. That's what I was saying at the start of the year. Now, look at where we're at, and I can't blame him. I can't even say, oh, poor choice, brother. Why would he want to go to New Japan now? Especially since things are happening. Anyway, I just caught myself on that one. Takeshita is like, there's no reason for him to go to New Japan in the state that fucking company is in right now, because New Japan is at a low point right now. It's legitimately at a low point. There's no reason for him to consider going there for like full-time work. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't connect. It doesn't connect. It doesn't work. So I'm excited for this match. I think it's going to rule. I think it's going to be awesome. And I think Okada, I don't know how much Okada is going to have his working boots on, because it's a three-way match. Like, I don't know. I don't think we're going to get 100% Okada. I think if we get 80% Okada, we'll be lucky. I think he's going to see this as a three-way. He's going to see that Mascara Dorada is going to try, and they're probably going to leave a lot of space for Mascara Dorada to get himself over even more with the AEW fan base. So they're going to give him some big spots and whatnot. Yeah, he's going to let the two other guys do most of the work here, and he's going to slide in with a Rainmaker to get the win on Dorada and retain the Unified Championship. That's very likely the most plausible scenario. Timeless Tony Storm is going to defend the AEW Women's World Championship in a four-way match against Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Tekla. They've been, pushing. They've been pushing some dissent amongst the babyface women here, because there's three of them. I did not care for the off-Broadway spectacular that happened last night on Dynamite. I thought it was a little contrived and dumb, and I'm still not quite sure what they're doing with Chris Statlander. Look, I don't know. She needs a direction and fast. And I don't think Timeless Toni Storm is losing the title, especially after the promo she caught last night, where it's like, you know, it seemed like she was abdicating. I don't think she's dropping the title. Not before they're going to run Mercedes Moné Toni Storm 2 before Storm loses this belt. I'm fairly confident in that. That's the vibe I'm getting from this. Should be a good, but it's going to be good. I mean, you've got 4 tremendous professional wrestlers in that match, like 4 extremely talented, like some of the upper crust of the women's division that I keep hyping about and saying, like, it's extremely top heavy. Like, these are 4 of the women that make it that good. So Timeless Toni retains in this match. And finally, the AEW Men's World Championship will be defended by Hangman Adam Page against challenger Kyle Fletcher. What more can we add that hasn't already been talked about? The whole story of this match is Hangman welcomes the challenge and he wants Kyle at his best, but Kyle, you're too young, you're not ready, and it's not going to happen. Kyle, his response is, I'm sick of everyone telling me I have potential. I am ready to carry the world on my back. And if there is a stipulation here, of course, that if any member of the Don Callis family interferes, Fletcher will be disqualified and stripped of his TNT championship. I kind of find it really heavy-handed now that we have to set these stipulations up in AEW, when there was a time that you never really had to, where you expected clean finishes. Now we're in an era of AEW where it's not necessarily the case, or it's not that you don't necessarily expect clean finishes. And in fact, to ensure you have a clean finish, you have to do these stipulations where all seconds are barred from ringside and all this bullshit. And I'm like, this seems unnecessary, but also necessary in the context we're in. Now, I understand it's the Don Callis family and that's part of their MO. Don't get me wrong. I understand. It's just weird. It's weird that AEW for the longest time was like, that you had a big time match and you were almost guaranteed that it was going to be a clean finish. Now you have to stipulate that it has to be a clean finish. And that sort of turns me off here. Nonetheless, exciting. Kyle Fletcher's ascension continues. He's dipping his toes in the deep end, and that's terrific. Is he going to win? No. I mean, if he did win, I wouldn't be angry. I'd be bold as fuck, and maybe that's exactly what this company would need. But I don't know if he's legitimately not ready or not. But this match is going to be great. This match is going to be great because Kyle Fletcher is great, and the Hangman cannot have a bad match. It's just as simple as that. You've got 2 incredible storytellers, incredible wrestlers, and incredible in-ring storytellers that are going to go after each other. It's going to be hard-hitting. It's going to be brutal. I'm super into this. And I'm all for Kyle Fletcher's continued ascension. I don't think he should win because, it might be just a little too quick, just a little too fast. You got to let this shit marinate a little bit sometimes. And I think we're still in the marinating part where we've got Fletcher looking like a $1 million and like a true superstar and really leaning into the top guy stuff. It won't take long for him to ascend and to be in the upper crust of AEW. It really won't be long. And it's going to be stupid at the age. He's going to be so stupid young when it happens too. It's going to be awesome. I'm highly looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to this match. I think there's a lot of really good stuff. And Hangman retains. Ultimately, I really do believe that Hangman retains. So, some quibbles aside, this is a solid card. there's a lot of really good stuff here. Hangman and Fletcher, the Women's World Championship 4-way, I think has tremendous potential. The 3-way for the Unified Championship, also the 4-way for the World Tag Team Championship. I think these are all matches that have tremendous potential. The trios match, the Hurt Syndicate and the Ricochet and the GOA. Eddie Kingston returning, Briscoe and MJF. The only match that really I'm like, is Riho and Mercedes Moné. That's really the only one where I'm gritting my teeth and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not sure about this one. And then the ladder match, again, it's not for me, but I might hop on the review and, sort of shrug my head, shrug my shoulders, lower my head in shame a little bit and go, well, guys, it was really good. Maybe. I'm just not looking forward to it. And here's a final quibble for this match, for this card as we're leaving. There's only 3. How many matches do we have here? 10 matches. And there's only 3 of them that are straight up singles matches without any stipulations or anything. Only 3. And I don't like that ratio. There's 7 matches that are either multi-person matches or that are gimmicked up. And I don't care for it. I don't care for it at all. Some people, if I'm being real with you, I remember a time where Tony Khan didn't feel like he had to gimmick up all of his matches on his pay-per-view to get people excited. You'd have some, don't get me wrong, but we're seeing this more and more. We're seeing this more and more from AEW. The majority of the matches all have some kind of stipulation attached to it. For the sake of going against WWE, the show had to gimmick things up. Did it? How many more people are tuning in? How many more people are tuning in because Darby Allin and Jon Moxley are fighting in a coffin match? How many more people are tuning in because MJF and Mark Briscoe are having a tables and thumbtacks match? How many more people are tuning in because there's a 3-way match for the Unified Championship? I'm not quite. I don't buy it. It feels heavy-handed. Au contraire, it makes the card look kind of goofy at some point. And I know WWE loves their multi-person matches, 3-way this and the triple threat that and 4-way dance and Sinister Six and whatever the fuck they call that, This has been a trend in AEW pay-per-views, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. This happens more often than not. I'm just pointing it out here because I find the ratio to be kind of insane. 70% of the matches are a gimmick instead of a singles match, or at least a 2-on-2 tag team match, a 1-on-1 tag team. You know what I fucking meant. 70% of the matches are unconventional. And I like straight up matches sometimes, most of the time, in fact. I don't know. So that was it. That's it. All Out 2025 this weekend. As a reminder, I will be reviewing it this weekend as well. And members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel will have early access to the review. So if you want to get in on that early, become a member, so join the channel. Show a little support for your boy and you'll get this in return. Otherwise, it will be on this Wednesday's Mr. Warren Hayes Show. So subscribe regardless, God damn it.